Hello, can you hear me okay, Christine? Perfect. Awesome. Talia, hi. Good afternoon. We have a few minutes, so just waiting for people to come in. We got about 3 more minutes. Thanks for coming in. Hope everybody's doing well today and having a great day. It's a beautiful day. Glad to be alive and glad to be here. So, for those that are listening, we'll get started in 1 minute. And I'm looking forward to a great talk with you all. And as you know, we're at the end of the day, but this is usually the best time of the day to really take in the information and, ponder and retain. So thank you all for your time. Okay, it's 3:30 and we are ready to go. My name is Mark Dunn. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you. I am here today to talk on behalf of what I do, which is self awareness. And today I'm going to be sharing three aspects of self awareness. It's going to be focusing on what I call the three A's. Hi, good afternoon. How are you? We are going to be focusing on the following: attitude, approach, and actions. But before we start with that, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to do is give you a little bit of information about myself. I graduated from Carleton University with a sociology anthropology degree. I moved into my first career as a teacher and a counselor at a private school. I was able to work in that profession for roughly about 5 years. And then I transitioned into working in mental health with youth between the age of 16 and 24 that were diagnosed with a mood disorder or schizophrenia. And I did that for almost 10 years. And then I started to work in marketing and business development. And throughout those careers and those professions, I was always speaking on different topics. And I was considered a motivational speaker, in quotations there. The truth is that I've evolved as a speaker because my topics have evolved with the times. And especially now more than ever, people need to hear content that is not finger pointing or fault finding, but more inspiration to go deep within themselves to find value. That being said, with what I've created with self awareness, is the understanding that we have to start working from within who we are to bring value to the world and to bring value to our families, our places of work, and our communities. So while I'm going to jump into that right now, I'm going to bring forth the idea of this whole COVID-19 and how it's affected us. So we are all going through it, and there's no denying that. It's been challenging, it's been difficult. Most importantly, it's impacted the job market, it's impacted businesses and how people function today. People are feeling stuck, they're feeling depressed. There's a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of people are waiting to see what's going to transpire. And while those are the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we're going through, I believe it's time for us to make this shift. And that shift is starting to use our heart and our energy to wake ourselves up, to get back into the game. Because no matter what happens, life is going to continue. The government is going to do what they're going to do. Everything else outside of you is going to continue. You have to decide how you want to continue and how you want to move forward in these most challenging times. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is a challenging time. But at the end of the day, we are human beings that are built to actually overcome and be resilient in the face of adversity. Some of us just need to have our backs against the wall and see if we're going to come out swinging. So before we get started, I want to go right into, the first topic, which is attitude. Attitude is the first pillar of my self-awareness content. Attitude is everything today. The reason why attitude is so important is because it can help elevate you, or it can keep you down, personally or professionally. Today, with COVID-19, we have to reestablish our attitudes. We have to really reestablish how we think and how we talk and how we engage and the languages we use. The truth of the matter is, self-awareness with the attitude allows for you to have a better quality of life. It can also enhance your relationships, either at home or in the workplace, because people will gravitate to those that have a positive attitude. People who are energy drainers or have a negative attitude, it makes the place kind of toxic, and it kind of brings like this gray cloud and heaviness where people might feel that they're walking on eggshells and they don't know what to do. And the last component of that is to have a maturity about yourself. The right attitude is about maturity, because you're not working from an ego perspective, you're working from a values and internal principle perspective. So what are some of the things that can help an individual reestablish or enhance their attitude about themselves to then be projected onto the world? The first thing I'm going to ask and say is gratitude. How do you start your day? We all start our day differently, but the mind, how do you start with your mind? I can say to you in good faith that I can't share anything with you this afternoon that I'm not doing myself. So when I look at gratitude, the first thing I say to myself is thank you. When I rise and stand up, the first word I see on my wall right in front of me is faith. And when I say thank you and have faith, I'm already going into the game or into the world with a perspective of knowing that everything is going to work out for its best interest, even if it hurts me, harms me, or slows me down. But I have to have a sense of gratitude, and I have perspective about my life. The second aspect of that is faith. You have to be your number one fan. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a tough world right now. And you have to be the one that when you look in the mirror every day, you're happy with the reflection that you see looking back at you. This is not about waiting for someone else to acknowledge you, or a title or status or income to define you, because those days are gone. We have to eventually flow with life and understand the value that we have to give. The third aspect of having a good attitude is courage. You have to have some sense of want, drive, ambition, perseverance, and resiliency within yourself to do what you're doing. Because just knowing that you woke up this morning means that you have a purpose. And that purpose is to add value somewhere, somehow in the day. It can also be a purpose associated to your career search, job searching, your family. But you have a purpose, and the courage to live with a sense of empathy and gratitude about you, because you're your number one fan, is so important. because everything else outside of you will be a bonus that you receive. The fourth component is optimism. If I can tell you, you can see this glass either half empty or you can see it half full. It's up to you. But I can tell you this, if it is empty, I know what to do with this. And I'm going to use it and I'm going to fill it because I'm optimistic about life because I am living, I'm 6 feet above ground. I have my health. I don't have anybody on a respirator that I know of. I have so much to be grateful and thankful for that when I'm going through my challenges and struggles, they're real, but I don't become a negative attitude of the struggle. I become a person who's finding the value in the struggle because through struggle comes victory. And when you have a sense of optimism, of knowing that it's about perspective and surrounding yourself with optimistic people, even if it's one person, that energy is going to flow and it's going to push out into the world to make the world a better place because of your example, right? The fifth component is humility. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here today. It is a privilege for me to be alive today. It is a privilege for me to be able to, impact lives because the truth is, through my humility, I do this out of gratitude and love for humanity because I understand that human connection is vital and is needed. And as we're going through life, I choose to use the space I occupy and the richness that I have to enhance the environment in my world and outside of my world. Just like with my social media, as an example, on LinkedIn, I have well over 20,000, followers and contacts. That took a long time to build, but it was being built through a genuine approach to putting out content that's authentic and transparent without trying to sell people something. I'm always looking at an angle of putting something out to the world that I can help someone. Because by helping, I'm making a difference. By giving, I'm making a difference. And that takes a really strong person to do that, but we all have the capabilities to do it. We just have to unlock it within our mindset, within our heart, and within our spirit. The sixth pillar of the attitude component is patience. I must say to you, you have to be patient with yourself. Going out in the world today, there's so much things happening. There's a lot of shifting happening. There's a lot of things moving around. But you have to realize that you have to be patient with yourself. You have to allow yourself and give yourself permission to feel a certain way, to experience certain things, and then to wake up the next day and say, okay, I'm going at it again. I'm going at it this way. Patience with yourself is better than you waiting to think that patience is going to come from someone else. Always start with you before you look to the we. And those six pillars, if you were to put them all together, they will actually enhance your attitude. And what's very interesting about it is, and I had somebody say this to me last week, is that I noticed that when I put these things together in my day-to-day life and I practice them, that I have more people envying that idea of myself having gratitude, having faith, having courage, being optimistic and not letting life get to me, not letting the news get to me, not letting the government get to me. Because the truth is, it's not just that there's a brighter day ahead, but I realize that as long as I'm taking the steps forward for my mental health, my emotional health, my spiritual health, for my just existence of how I can impact the world and make the world a better place, I'm realizing that it's bigger than me. So there's no need for there to be an ego. There's no need for me to be bitter. It's all about being better. And that's kind of how you can bring together the aspects of how important having an attitude, a positive attitude, an value to yourself personally and professionally. The second pillar I want to talk about is your approach. Your approach to life, you can't be rigid anymore. You can't be one dimensional. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to pivot. You have to put yourself in a position where you realize that the world is going this way, but where are my strengths, my skill sets, and the things that make me elite to be unique in order to help the world? Where are those things? And how can I put them in that stream or that river of where life is flowing right now? And it's just like that in the job market. You got to look at where your strengths are, where your professional strengths are, and then you got to figure out, where do I put myself, but then how flexible am I within that journey to go through life the way how it's being handed to me. Because we have to work with life and flow with life. We can't force life to happen for us anymore. And with your approach, the goal of having the right approach is to always look to improve, not looking for validation or perfection to be the litmus test of your existence. You have to be willing and able to search out that aspect of improving daily. The second goal of the approach is to be able to respond to life instead of reacting to life. Responding to life allows you to take a pause and take time to reflect on what you're going through. It doesn't mean that you are someone who doesn't get upset or you don't get frustrated, but you might do something that's a little bit unique from the reactive side, where you can't pull that emotion back after you let it out. You might do something like maybe go for a walk, take a warm bath, explain to your partner or your surroundings that I just need some time. I just need some time, without it coming off like a pop can and I shake it up for you and I hand it to you and it explodes all over the place and people are wondering, what did I do? Right? These things are happening in a very common way, but it's understandable why, because there's no outlet. So we have to start to create that outlet by responding and taking a pause for the cause, if you will. The third aspect of the goal around having the right approach is not allowing fear to cripple you. A lot of us are scared. A lot of us are scared of what is to come. What is the job market going to be like? Am I going to get my job back? Am I going to have to start from zero? Or there's a sense of fear and a sense of anxiety that's on a whole new level. But the truth of the matter is that we have to take time to really set back and not worry or focus on fear, but focus on what we can control. Who do I need to consult to help me with this job or help me get myself out there? What are the things I need to change about my resume or my positioning and how I put myself out on social media or engaging or networking with people? There's always things we need to pivot and adjust because change is going to happen automatically, and we have to get comfortable with that. So when you look at the conclusion of having the right approach, I jotted some things down that are some points that I also wanted you to take away from this. And that when you look at taking the right approach, ladies and gentlemen, it's focusing on, one, how you think. What's going on up here? How are you thinking about yourself? Are you thinking of yourself as a victim, or are you thinking of yourself as a victor? Are you thinking of yourself that you're worthless because you didn't get the job or you didn't get the call back? Or are you resilient enough to say, tomorrow I'm going back and I'm going to apply for 3 more jobs or 4 more jobs? You have to look at how you think. The next component is you have to look at how you feel. I never want anybody out there to ignore their feelings, because the feelings are real. The feelings are something that we have to take into consideration when we're going through a life-changing event. So your feelings, you have permission to address and call it as you see it, call it as you feel it, but bring it to light, bring it to the surface. Don't let it hide and fester and only do the surface level stuff because you're afraid of what others will think if you let it out. Other people's judgments don't worry or matter. What matters is you and how you address yourself and how you correct yourself and how you feel about yourself. The third aspect is how we learn. Everybody learns differently. Everybody learns with a different approach. So when you look at your strength base and your model of how you learn, it's important to realize, do you need more time to learn? Do you need to identify the people that I learn this way and I want to share that with you so that I can maximize my potential? Because most people are afraid to identify their learning styles because they don't want people to judge them. They don't want people to feel that they're incompetent. What you should do is bring to light how you learn so you put yourself in the best position to succeed. And the fourth component of that is how we evolve and adjust. To evolve and adjust is going to happen consistently and throughout our lifetime. But we have to get comfortable with that. COVID-19 has done a great job of forcing us to change and shift. We have to learn how to do that, feel comfortable with it, accept it, and move on. Now, my last component of my pillar here is the actions we take. Now, your actions that you take are aligned with your purpose, and your actions also provide a result. And ladies and gentlemen, results never lie. So, if you choose to put out a certain amount of posts or a certain amount of resumes or a certain amount of business contacts or networking, uh, expect the results based on the effort that you put out there. There is no such thing as getting things through osmosis. There's something called work or the grind, and you've got to be ready, willing, and able to do so because you have to outwork the next person out there. Nothing's going to be handed to us anymore. And that's very important to know about your actions because then when you understand your actions, you'll realize that you're in control of them. And by being in control of your actions, I'd like to leave a couple points around this and how this can help you. The first point around actions that I'd like to talk about is always be listening, observing, and absorbing other people's experiences because they can teach you something. They can provide little tricks. They could provide something that you might see that someone else doesn't see, but you pick up on it. Focus on how they cope with the successes. Focus on how they cope with the rejection, how they focus on the failures, and how they get back into the game. Associate yourself with people who are genuine enough to actually talk about their failures. I'm not afraid to do that because, in an example, I did a thing where I tracked how many jobs when I was looking for work at one point, how many jobs I could apply for, and then how many rejections I got. And then I also tracked how many interviews I got. So when I look back at the work that I did, I was actually documenting my journey to build a reference point that allowed for me to go back to it when I'm in those moments of challenging times to say, well, hey, remember when you were out of work or when you couldn't find a job or there was no one giving you an opportunity? And look what you did to have to get yourself back in the game. Sometimes we have to go through life to document our journey, but we do it by taking time to listen, observe, and absorb other people's experiences. Point number two, stop overthinking. We do too much overthinking to try to make the perfect situation, to apply for the perfect job, or to have the perfect resume. Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing in life that's perfect. You are going to fall, you're going to fail, you're going to falter. But the truth of the matter is that you have to stop overthinking because overthinking will lead to you relying on your fears, your insecurities, and that will get into your head, get into your heart, and impact your actions. The third component of it is be willing to pivot, as I mentioned earlier. Flow with life. Life is not a linear thing, it's something that ebb and flows. You've got to learn to roll with the punches. And as you learn to roll with the punches, you'll get better at being persistent and consistent in your approach to life. So, in conclusion, I wanted to leave you all with the fact that with your actions that you take, your actions are going to build a reference point that allows for you to build experiences that you can leverage into your strengths. And by doing that, you get a chance to maximize your potential. And at the end of the day, realize that your fingerprint is unique, which makes you someone who's elite to go out there and add value in the business world and in your family. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for your time. If there's any questions, sorry I may have missed some stuff. I wanted to make sure I covered all the bases. But thank you so much for your positive and comments, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, I'm here to help. If there's anything I can do for you, please connect with me on LinkedIn. If your organization or teams are looking for self-awareness from the perspective of how I can share it with you, I am happy to present workshops that will bring value to your organization and to your teams and to your staff, and that will help them both personally so that they can take that home with them and professionally. That creates the win-win outcome. And that's something that is very valuable and heartfelt to me because I want your children to be in a position when they're at home, being the first place of education, that when you come in as the role model, you can take some of the content that you've learned and you can also share it with them so that when they're going through their struggles academically or adolescence or bullying, you can pull out some of the triggers and aspects of it and realize that it can help them too. So we're creating that snowball effect of working together. I can't change the world by myself, and I don't expect to. I just expect to make a difference with one life. And when I do that and I go to my grave, I've left all of my greatness, my potential, what I was born to do 6 feet above ground instead of taking it 6 feet underground. Thank you all very much. It was a fantastic time. I enjoyed being here. I look forward to connecting with you all on LinkedIn. And I hope that we can cross paths again. And good luck to all of you out there. And please feel free to share my information, my contact information with people within your network. So thank you so much. Have a blessed day, a great week. Stay healthy, stay safe. Bye bye. Any questions, anybody? I'm here just in case if there's any questions that you may have. I'm not going to leave yet because I see that people are still leaving their comments of gratitude. So thank you so much. You all are very welcome. Thank you for your time and thank you for coming and listening. I wish you all the best, and I can't. Uh, Words are unjust to explain just the opportunity to be able to touch your lives today. Thank you so much. I will put my LinkedIn link down below, but you should be able to have my LinkedIn on my profile here as well, ladies and gentlemen. If there's anything that you need, I'm pretty quick to respond as well. If you have any questions you want to ask me personally, I'm happy to set up phone calls for us to connect and engage. Do I have any tips for how to stop yourself every time your attitude starts to become negative? Tips on how to deal with negative thoughts. First of all, point number one, I would say, um, what what's the thought? So write out or identify what the root cause is or what's the thought. Second, point number two, why is the thought there? What is the trigger of the thought? Um, was it the way someone may have said something to you, the facial expression? Was it something that happened last night? Was it in your personal life? Identify what the trigger is. Third, once you identify the trigger, then look at what the options are within that trigger. Do I need to address this with an individual? So if it's work related, do I have to address it with my boss or my superior? Do I have to address this with my partner? Look at who needs to be the person to talk to, because I don't want you to feel stuck and feel that you need to keep it to yourself. And once you're able to identify that, the next step is to take action towards having that conversation or being able to be in a state where you can sit down for 5 to 7 minutes and address your concern. And if that turns into 20 minutes, that's great. But the truth of the matter is, you have to break things down in bite sized pieces first, where you feel comfortable. And if it takes a week to get through that, then it takes a week. If it takes 2 days, then it takes 2 days. But the whole idea here is that you're working towards making progress to heal yourself and actually let go of those negative thoughts and barriers. Does that make sense, Missy? You're welcome. Great question. Brenda. Well, Brenda, it's great that you're able to, want to help people. The first thing I would probably look at is point number one. I would Google the actual idea of your profession to see what you can get as information, right? Because Google is a free platform that can help us, and it helps us in a way that if we need questions asked, you can somewhat ask Google, these type of questions in a generality way, and then let's see what comes up from Google, read up on it. And then the next component of that, after reading up on it, is to be able to look at what are the things that are needed in that career or in that job. And I would say the fourth component is then to leverage a platform like LinkedIn to connect with those that are in that profession or within those companies and start networking with those type of individuals and even asking questions. One of the things I'm not afraid of is to ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. There's no F for trying. There's no F for failure at all when going through life. What it is that you don't know until you try. So even things like, let's say there's a company out there that actually does the job that you're looking for, Brenda, call them and ask them some questions. Take a couple minutes to connect with the manager or the decision maker or possibly even the CEO director. These type of things are trial and error. So when you're going through life and really learning, it's important that you just try and take steps towards trying and seeing where the door is going to open and just putting yourself out there. I hope that helps. No problem, Brenda. Teresa, what about self awareness? Sometimes we think we know ourselves, how to expand feedback opportunities to help in our professional lives. So, when you're looking at feedback, it's really important that you feel comfortable in your own skin to receive feedback, because sometimes with feedback people say they want it, and when they get something that they ask for, they almost wish they didn't ask for it. One of the things that I've learned to do is I've learned to identify my weaknesses, not just in the interview or not just going through a process of an interview, but I've identified it even in training. I need a bit more I need a bit more time to do this. I need some coaching here. I need you to support me here, because the more I request that type of support, the more when I have one-on-ones or engaging with whoever is my superior, I'm going to use their expertise of feedback coming from a perspective of knowing that I brought it to the forefront. I didn't need them to pull it out. So depending on where you're at with your self-awareness and how strong you are about wanting feedback, you have to be at a point where you're strong enough to receive it, where it can't harm you, but it builds you, it enhances you, it adds value to you. Versus some people will receive feedback and they'll become like a turtle and they'll go in a shell and they'll say, I'll never do this again. I'll never make myself vulnerable again. I feel like I'm stupid, I'm incompetent. The truth is, there's more strength in you seeking out feedback to learn and grow, but it's also a stronger character about you when you bring to the forefront some of the things that you need to keep yourself learning, growing, and developing, and then letting them know that I value feedback, because now you've held their hand and both of you are guided and walking through the journey together towards your success. I hope that helps, Teresa. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? It's been a great talk and it's been a great afternoon. I can't say how much gratitude I have for you all. You're very welcome, Teresa. Yogesh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Glad to meet every single one of you today. And we'll never have this moment again. So I'm cherishing this moment with you and enjoying the moment. So thank you so much as well. Davika, you are very welcome. Any type of feedback that you have for me is I am open and willing and able to listen and hopes to be better as well because I'm always looking to get better. So I do appreciate positive feedback as well as if there's an opportunity to give this organization putting this event together feedback on how I did to bring value to you, that would be greatly appreciated as well because anything that I can do to always be better will be better for the community and be better for folks like yourselves. So thank you all so much. Are there any other questions out there this afternoon? Please feel free. No such thing as a dumb question. Okay. Well, once again, folks, thank you. I wish you all the best. All your families, please stay safe, stay humble, have gratitude, enjoy, and love and respect for all of you. Thank you. Bye bye.